40% of the time. That's third best in the NFL. So, Dan, are there holes, though, in this defense that Sean McVay and the Rams can try and expose?
You know what the Bucs defense has started to become over the past couple weeks? They've started to become that defense that, you know, the ball can go over the top of their heads. And Sean McVay is the best clue grabber in the NFL when it comes to tape. He's going to watch these defensive backs, Jamal Dean, with bad eyes and go, oh, clue, I can go some play action pass towards him. Now, you know what? Carlton Davis, you got bad eyes too. Like, I know I can manipulate you. How about maybe I want to go double move Carlton Davis because you're looking in the backfield at the wrong spot. And that's what Sean McVay is going to do. He's got clues that he's going to see on tape. Oh, you got bad eyes when I go play action your side. You got bad eyes on 2nd and 8 when you want to sit on the sticks. And so he doesn't need these guys to have bad eyes for 70 snaps. He needs them to have bad eyes for 3 snaps and hit on them. And so that's what Sean McVay is going to do. He's going to look at those corners and go, I'm going to take advantage of your over-aggressive eyes and your poor eye discipline and try to create some shots downfield.
I love when Dan Orlovsky talks defense. I really do. It warms my heart to see him talk
Taking
about
me over
defense.
to the bad side.
And I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going and reiterating what he is saying. Listen, this is not the same Bucs defense that we were lauding and going crazy about at the beginning of the season. And big part of that is what Dan just explained about being able to be taken advantage of on double moves and giving up big plays. That's been their issue. For all intents and purposes, the New York Giants could have beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers by 2 touchdowns if Daniel Jones hits 3 of those deep balls because the cornerbacks were looking in the backfield. They have to get back to that. Nothing's going to change about what Todd Bowles likes to do. They feel like they should have corners on the outside that can man up and give enough time for the blitz to get home. Devin White, Levante David, the guys we talked about, and also being able to rush with 4 and keep everything in front of you. And then Goff struggled. The last time we saw him struggle was against the Miami Dolphins defense that heated them up. Pressure after pressure after pressure. Zero coverage. But you know what the difference is? Xavier Howard and Byron Jones looks at the receivers when they are in zero pressure, as opposed to trying to steal something by looking in the backfield. That's what the Bucs have to get to on their back end, which allows their front 7 to get after people.
Yeah, speaking of pressure, Key, Tom Brady really didn't like it and has not performed well against the pressure and against defenses that would do that this year. When you think about Aaron Donald on the other side for Brady and what he's going to have to contend with this Rams defense, what are the challenges for him?
It's a lot of challenges. I think when you look at it, so great defenses have a guy at every level. Yeah. You have a guy at the linebacker position, someone at the defensive line, maybe multiple guys, but somebody in the back end. And the Rams got Jalen Ramsey. So you put him over there, whoever you want. Who you want? You want Brown? You want Evans? Who do you want? Okay, I got that. We'll double somebody else, and we'll force Tom Brady to find Gronkowski. If you beat us with Gronkowski, great, you win the football game. But I know Aaron Donald will be sitting in his lap multiple times in this football game, whether it's the sacks, whether it's just pure pressure, whether it's hovering around the legs, any of those side of things, getting Brady off his mark is key. And I think when you look at it, the Rams defense don't allow the ball to be pushed down the field. They keep everything in front of them and they rally to make the tackles. It's going to be tough, but it could happen.
Yeah, you know, the one thing about Tom Brady is he likes Monday Night Football usually. In fact, he's 18-7 on Monday Night Football. Only Dan Marino and Brett Favre had more wins on Monday night than Brady.
You were about to say Dan Orlovsky.
Yeah, not you, Dan.
Jeez.
Sorry. That's so funny.
I didn't say anything. I just said
All right, anyway, guys, Kyler Murray, we're going to talk about next. He has proven to be one of the most mobile QBs in the league. He's got mixed feelings about quarterbacks on the run. Dan's got some insight. That's next on NFL Live.
Snap to Wilson, quick throw over the middle, picked off!
Ill-advised pass by Russ.
Ball's out, they stripped it. Wilson turns it over.
These are mistakes that veterans should not be making.
Wilson throws to his right, intercepted!
We just have to tighten up some things. We'll be back stronger, we'll be better.
It's been a tale of 2 seasons for Russell Wilson. He led the NFL with 19 touchdown passes and just 3 turnovers, as well as an 83 QBR in the first 6 weeks. In the last 4 games, though, Wilson's QBR has dropped off by 17 points with a league-high 10 turnovers. It's also the most turnovers Russ has had in a 4-game span in his NFL career. He said this week none of that will change his mindset.
You know, I think Vince Lombardi said something about that one time. I think he talked about just, you know, the man who's on top of the mountain didn't just get there, you know. And the guys that can keep getting up and keep swinging, you know, those are the players and those are the teams that keep overcoming. And what I do know about myself, I'm an overcomer. You know, I'm a guy that just, you know, I've been doubted before. One thing about me is, I'm going to keep swinging like I told you guys.
So Russ is going to keep swinging. One thing to note, there's a very high chance of rain here around kickoff, about 50 degrees. So you wonder about the turnovers in that scenario. But back to Russ's mindset, Dan, do you understand where he's at right now?
Yeah, I've been in this situation as the backup quarterback with two guys in the NFL. Matt Schaub was one, and then Matthew Stafford was another, where these guys would play such good football, and we would lose 41-38 or 38-35, and they'd be balling out of their minds. And then they'd get into this thought process, because everyone's got to remember, like, these guys are hyper competitive. Russell Wilson is still, he talked about it himself, like the doubted guy, that third-round pick. And so they start to think, okay, the only way for our football team to win, because that's all they care about, that's all Russell Wilson wants to do, is go win the game. The only way to do that is to try and go, like, be Superman, right? Score as many points as you can, because that's the only opportunity. You just scored 38 and lost. And I'd sit on the bus all the time with Matthew Stafford, and I'd just look at him, and he'd be like, I played so great, but -2 plays, and we end up losing the game because of those two uncharacteristic decisions where you go, why did you do that? And then you realize, oh, he's doing that because he thinks that's the only chance that they have to win the football game. And having those conversations week after week, there was two things that I would always try to drill home to him. I'd always tell him, like, listen, Matthew, you can't play, no matter what you think, you can't play linebacker, and you can't play safety, and you can't play cornerback. You just got to play quarter. And I'd always finish it with this. The best version of yourself is when you were singularly focused on leading our football team rather than carrying our football team. And I think that's where Russell needs to get back to. Just lead and play the best quarterback you can.
Dan, you make a great point with that, man, but I'm going to go to the opposite side of that conversation, being in those shoes. How about everybody else on this team lift Russ? How about everybody else step up a little bit more and not let it fall all on their shoulders to make plays? And I'm not saying that other guys aren't playing well. That's not my point. But your quarterback is pressing because he's worried about a defense that's giving up a lot of yards. That's the reality of it. Like, we haven't seen Russ turn the football over at this rate in his career, let alone being in games with opportunities to win them and making poor decisions. That's a reflection on everybody else. We talk about this team game. We talk about making plays and doing the things that we need to do in order to win as a team. We lauding right now the Miami Dolphins because they're winning in all phases of the game. Each unit is lifting up each unit. We looked at Jimmy Garoppolo threw 8 passes last year in the NFC Championship, and the San Francisco 49ers run game and defense lifted that team and made them better than what they were. So it's a challenge to the guys across the ball from Russell Wilson on his team. Yeah. Go make plays. Give your quarterback some more possessions. You lift up your level of play so he doesn't have to carry instead of lead. Yeah, and maybe a challenge, too, to his offensive weapons. One of those guys, DK Metcalf, a couple weeks ago, Key, we're talking about this guy's rise to be #1 receiver. We're trying to convince you to put him in your top 5 receivers all time. We kind of got you there. What happened against the Rams last week?
I shouldn't have listened to y'all, though. I know, if anything, I know the damn receiver position. And I shouldn't have listened to Marcus and Dan, and I did. I just shouldn't have. But when you look at it, it's just not Ramsey. You got to go back to the Bills game as well. Yeah, chief touchdown at the end. Ramsey shuts down everybody pretty much in the National Football League. But single coverage. If you're supposed to be that guy, you've got to beat single coverage. In 3 games in his career, DK Metcalf against the Arizona Cardinals, 3 catches, 28 yards. You can't be the guy doing that. But I was forced to put him in there with Michael Thomas, Julio Jones, DeAndre Hopkins, and I know better. I knew I should have waited. I knew I should have waited. Not that he's bad. He's just not there yet. Yeah, not there yet.
Listen, we'll see what he does tonight. Maybe he can get there yet for you. Time for some smart lineup decisions brought to you by IBM Watson.
Listening to them, man.
By IBM Watson.